1907. Morgan now owned the steel and the railroads. He was the master of the universe. But suddenly the financial heart of the world stopped beating. The stock market crashed 50% in days. Trust companies failed. Banks collapsed like dominoes. The system was rotting from the inside. Panic swept the streets like a fever. Men screamed, women wept. They ran to the banks to pull out their life savings. But the vaults were empty. There was no Federal Reserve yet, no safety net. The government was helpless to stop the bleeding. President Teddy Roosevelt had no choice. He didn't call the army. He called one man, the only man with enough liquidity to stop the crash. J.P. Morgan, the Jupiter. He was 70 years old, semi-retired, and tired of the noise. He sat in his library, playing solitaire. He controlled the railroads, the steel, the shipping. Now he realized he had to save the value of money itself. He returned to New York immediately. The city held its breath as his carriage rolled down Broadway. He didn't ask. He summoned the richest bankers in America to his private library, the West Room. They arrived in top hats and tails, smelling of fear. They thought it was a negotiation. They were wrong. Morgan threw the ledger on the table. The trust company needs $25 million by morning. You will provide it. The bankers refused. They folded their arms. It's too risky, J.P. The trust is dead. Let them fail. Morgan glared at them. You fools. If they fail tonight, the panic hits your vaults tomorrow. We swim together, or we sink together. They still hesitated. So Morgan walked to the massive brass doors, and he locked them from the inside. He calmly put the heavy brass key in his vest pocket. He sat down, ignored their protests, and started playing solitaire again. Nobody leaves, he growled, until you sign the check to save your own skins. Hours passed. Midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m. The library became a prison, the room filled with cigar smoke and fear. Morgan didn't speak. He just waited, watching them break. Finally, at 4:45 a.m., the leader of the trust broke down. Give me the pen. I will sign. Was it a bailout, or was it a hostage negotiation? Morgan stood up, stiff from the night. He unlocked the door. You may go. The money was moved instantly. The banks opened. The panic stopped dead in its tracks. One man, a private citizen with no official office, had single-handedly saved the American economy from total collapse. But in Washington, President Roosevelt wasn't celebrating. He was terrified by what he had just seen. He realized a terrifying truth. If one man had the power to save the country, that same man had the power to destroy it. The headlines screamed, King Morgan. The public asked, do we have a president or a king? The gratitude faded quickly. It was replaced by suspicion. Morgan had too much control. Congress vowed, never again. They realized they needed a system to replace him. They couldn't rely on one mortal man. They called for a central bank, a government agency to manage the money. Or so they thought. But Morgan didn't care about their laws. He cared about monopoly, and he saw an opportunity. If there was going to be a central bank, he wanted to make sure he owned it. He began to make calls, not to the president, but to his rivals, Rockefeller, Warburg, the elite. He invited them to a meeting so secret they couldn't even use their real names. Follow the wise way forward to enter the room where the Federal Reserve was really born. Part 3, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Comment conspiracy if you think the banks still run the world.